Thank you, Alan. We're really sorry to not have Scott Oviatt. He had come down earlier this year with a Water Managers Conference presentation at the Council of Governments, and he is by far the expert in the snowpack realm. And some of this information has already been shared. The situation, I'll just give a couple of highlights here in our region. That's a snowtel site here in the Rogue Basin near the Rogue River, and it normally has snow on it. That location was March 31st. A couple of trend concepts here is not only less snow, but earlier meltout, which then, of course, affects stream flow and stream water quality. So the precipitation, as Ryan Sandler just did an outstanding job on, from Scott Oviatt's initial slides, and then I've added some additional ones, so I don't know what he would have said for each of these slides, but he put a lot of work into this. So this is precipitation for our Rogue Basin. This shows 82%. If you were to simply go to the Medford Mail Tribune and look at the water year expected, which is 18.6 inches a year. By the way, when I first got here in 1979, it was 19.5 inches per year, 30-year average. So even that has gone down. This is 82%, but if you went to the Mail Tribune and looked at the expected amount at the end of this last water year, September 30th, it's 78% of normal, which, all right, so we've had that before. We had a crisis in 1991 when we had 11 inches per that year, and everybody, of course, expects 19.5 at that time and was wondering who to blame. Snowpack, 11%, and this is the statewide snowpack by water region. These are our snowtel and mechanical snow sites around the Siskiyous and Cascades in our region. And some of them are done by hand, some of them are done with telemetry. The horizontal line is a median, so that's misleading, but taking a look at the last 4 years, we have a significant drop, and 4 years is nothing, you can't do much statistically with 4-year trend, but you saw, and we'll see again, the overall trend. This may be a rival to Ryan Sandler's view of the worst slide you've ever saw on PowerPoint. However, to give the photographer credit, that's 1890, okay? And thanks to the Historical Society, we have a train on the Siskiyou Summit not going very far, okay? And another major photographic milestone is the rusting snowplow in the Medford Railroad Yard this year, okay? Unused. Now, that is so anecdotal, I apologize to those of you who are professorial in this room, because that doesn't prove anything. But some of the other data that Scott provided, and you will see, does show, now we do have a decreasing trend. The orange is the last 10-year median since 1980, compared to the blue, which is the median from 1980 to 2010 of snowpack, soil water equivalent. So if you were to melt the snow, that's how much water you would get. Now, this is a slide you just saw from Ryan and Dr. Moe. Significant decrease starting in 1911, snowpack. Anecdotally, if you want to look at that again, I talked to Dalton Strauss, who has been a rancher in this region for over 50 years. And he remembers having skis at the house in the valley bottom and having them handy, because it did snow every winter, and they just went out and had fun, all right? It hasn't happened like that in a long time. The red line on this case is the overall mean. This is the blue and the successive colors all the way down to the black. The black is the most recent snowfall. The trend is both decreased and the peak has come earlier. This is in the Rogue Basin, thanks to Natural Resource Conservation Service. The red is the precipitation, cumulative precipitation. The blue is snowfall. In this case, it's one of the snow tell sites at Red Mountain. Notice that we have a snow melt out May 25th. The normal snow melt out used to be June 25th, a month ahead. And again, if you want to talk anecdotally with our farmers in the region, and many of whom are in this room, seems everything this year happened a month early. Whether it's the growth of crops, the peak snow melt, things have shifted now. This may be an unusual year, but thinking about that process brings you to yet another. This one's at Bigelow Camp Peak. It's in the Applegate. And again, precipitation, water accumulation, and early snow melt of much less snow than expected or average. Dr. Moat mentioned the representative concentration pathways, and he highlighted 8.5, that's the path we're on. 4.5 is something that we would like to see as more of a benefit. So if you're looking at Jackson County, Klamath County, the black is where we are now. These are those RCP projections. It should level out and not get any worse if we were on 4.5. However, if we stay on 8.5 and in effect do nothing, status quo, then that slope will continue to go down for snow level. The same for Klamath County, Josephine County, and Curry County. Those are projections that are pretty scary, especially if you are dependent on water resources in the process. Soil moisture. This is a little bit longer, long-term impact of less snowfall. Soil moisture starts drying up. This then will impact our ecology. Brian Barr will talk about things like that as they are interconnected. But soil moisture decrease then stresses on trees, increasing insects, and so on. So the timing of that snowfall meltout has moved up by about a month. The peak has decreased for the same reasons Ryan Sandler just mentioned with regard to the amount of snow. Warming and loss of snowpack. Runoff peak earlier and less. Late summer runoff is lower. The result, less stream flow, increased water temperature, and stresses on the ecology. And at some point, we're going to have concerns about our own water supply domestically. I mentioned riparian because fish usually come in at close last. We get mad if we turn on the faucet and there's no water. But in this case, I think we need to be more proactive in dealing with water as our current problem. So That's it.